Good afternoon, everyone. I am coming to you live now in the afternoon. It was just kind of a crazy day for me, and I just, yeah, wanted to come on here and, as promised, give you the weekly Facebook Live. So, if you see the title, it's called Structure is a Form of Self-Love. I'm going to say it again. Structure is a form of self-love. And what I realized is, right, I've worked with a lot of different styles of entrepreneurs and a lot of different types of business owners, right? Coaches, consultants, and the like. The people who gravitate most to what I do are the creative entrepreneurs. So, and what I find with the creative types is these people don't like to be put in a box. When I talk about structures and things, and even the title, Systems That Sell, of this Facebook group is changing this week, probably today or tomorrow, because I realize that the word systems to a lot of people who need they need my genius, they need my brain to help them wrap around all of the ideas that they have. One, they're multi-passionate. Two, they have so many creative ideas, like just coming out of the woodwork is as if their ideas just simply ooze out of their brains. If this is you, type yes in the chat, because I hope that's why you're here. You're not just here to figure out, oh, this is a system that's going to help me sell. What I really hope that this group will do for you is find you a way to use your personality and infuse it into your brand, but also create a system and structure around you that supports you to build and grow your business, right? Because there's people out here in the world that need you. They need your genius, they need your beauty, they need you to shine. And what better way to do that than put your message out into the world? But here's what I know, because this is what I've suffered for years. And if you are my friend and you're in this group, you know about me is I'm super creative, I'm multi-passionate. I've done a lot of things in my journey. I've done MLM, I've done, OBM work, I've done life coaching, health coaching, done all of it. The underlying theme for me was all about letting people have fun and enjoy their life, because I didn't. For a long time, I was all about work. And not that I wanted it to be about work, that was just where I was at the time. In corporate, I was working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. At one point, I remember I had to talk to the HR person because I couldn't fit triple digits onto my timesheet. I worked about 105 hours in 1 week, and I had to submit my timesheet, and I couldn't fit triple digits onto my weekly timesheet that I needed to turn in, and it messed up the system, because nobody's supposed to work a 100-hour work week. Granted, it was great. I was the team lead on a very big project. It was like an entire company-wide project that I was the lead of, and I needed to work those hours. I wasn't just like milking up the overtime, I needed to work those hours. So yeah, all of that to say, it paid for my wedding. I paid for my wedding in cash. Every time a vendor needed a deposit, I was able to pay for everything in cash. I just would write a check and give it to my wedding planner, and she would take care of it for me. Which is kind of a segue, but it's also important that I knew at the time that we were getting married that I was going into this project. Like the project was a 5-year project, and I knew it was going to go live starting February of 2013. And I met my husband in 2012, and we picked a date in June of 2013, and you know, I knew I wasn't gonna have the time, and I knew like my cousin is very creative and whatever, and that's what she did for a living. And I said, here, can I just hire you to do this for me? She helped me find my wedding dress, and she did all of that. And this is what I love. This was not the story and the analogy I was going to share today, but what she did for me made my wedding day like absolutely beautiful. So we got married on a Saturday. Thursday night we had the rehearsal dinner. She created the structure. She created the boundaries, right? She was my wedding planner. She had like a sheet. She gave everyone her business card and a sheet with the agenda of everything that was happening after rehearsal dinner, what's happening Friday, what's happening Saturday at the wedding, who needs to be where, at what time. Because the venue that we chose, the window was very tight. We only had 90 minutes, and the clock started as soon as someone set foot on the property, right? And so it was in Waikiki, back on Oahu, and it's a very sought after venue, very busy, and it was a lot of Japanese tourists that would book it, so they wouldn't have a lot of family. It was rare, and I kind of found it on Groupon, so I got a good deal on it. Anyhow, she created the boundaries and the structure for me so that I was free to enjoy my wedding day. And I don't know about you, I mean, I don't like being put into a box, but it was so freeing to have her. Hi, I can't see who's on, but just say hi. It's so free to have my cousin create the structure, create the plan, coordinate with the flower guy who was my uncle. I like working with people who I know. So if you notice, Sheila, she was recommended. Neil is also in this group. He's not a fierce feminine CEO, but he and I jived. We got to do an interview, and he just gets me, and so that's why he is my tech VA right now. Anyway, I was able to have her coordinate and work with all the vendors on my wedding day, and I didn't have to stress out about anything. And so I was a project manager in corporate, and I understood the beauty of having someone else manage the schedule, because that's what I did for my bosses. So I had bosses, so they did kind of report to me during this project. So everybody reported me during the project, but outside of the project, they were the bosses. But when the project went live, everyone reported to me because I was a coordinator. And part of what my job was to take all the information and all the data and organize it and give it to the people that needed it, right? So we had health and safety, we had environmental, we had all these different groups that needed this information, and that was what I did. I coordinated and organized the whole project and made sure everybody was where they needed to be. So yeah, same thing that my cousin did for me for my wedding. I didn't have to touch it. And after the wedding, I went back to work, and everyone was like, how was the wedding? Because I didn't invite any of them. My husband and I both worked in the same place, and who are you going to invite? Like, you would have to invite the entire company, because we both worked there. So I said I didn't invite anyone. When we went back to work, they asked me, how was it? I was like, it was beautiful. I had a wedding planner. I didn't have to worry about anything. And then right after that, we went on a 7-day cruise in Alaska, and I was out of work for like 14 days. It was great. And all of that's when I got back to work. My friends were like, oh, was it so stressful? My wedding was so stressful. Mind you, there was like a handful of females that worked where I worked, because right, it was mostly male dominant, and I was like, no, it was fine. It was super fun. Like, we were jamming out to Angela Johnson. If you don't know her, she does the nail salon. She does the, you know, the Vietnamese nail salon parody. We were doing that while we were getting ready and just cracking up and having a great time while we were doing our hair. And the hair person and the makeup person, we were all around the same age, so we were just jamming to 90s music while we were getting ready in the honeymoon suite, and it was so fun. And I couldn't describe the feeling that I had about being so free. Like, my friends who did their own weddings did not understand the freedom that I had by hiring a wedding planner. Mind you, I had, you know, I had a lot of money at the time, so I get it, right? You have to pay for the people that you need to have that support you, right? I pay for social media support, I pay for tech support, but it allows me to be free and create. So today, why I'm going live later in the day today, is because I had team meetings with my team. Sheila's watching. And Neil, right, I had a team meeting with him, and they're helping me get what's in my brain out onto paper, right? Those of you who are my friends and are in this group, you know I've been sitting on my time wheel for a long time. I just didn't have the bandwidth or couldn't see the full vision of how it would look like. As an extrovert, I needed someone to bounce my ideas off of. And if you're married and in this space and your husband is not an entrepreneur, bouncing your ideas off of your husband does not work. Or even bouncing ideas off of people that you're in masterminds with sometimes don't work, because, right, you're in a mastermind, they don't really know you, like they haven't fully experienced you. They only know what they see up front. They only know what you can articulate. They don't know everything that sorry, my daughter just got home from work, so the dog is getting super excited. But you know, they don't know everything that about me that there is to know, and I'm so appreciative. Oh, hi, Megan. I'm so appreciative of my team. And Megan knows, right? She has a team at her job that she's I think, right, you're a creative director, and right, if you have a team to spill your ideas out to, it's easier to get it from here and onto paper for me as an extrovert to verbalize. So there are going to be some changes here in the group. One, I'm going to change the name to Fierce Feminine CEOs. CEO stands for Creative Entrepreneurs Owning the Business Game, right? Because I'm all about you guys owning your business game, owning who you are, owning your genius, right? Megan and I have worked privately together, and she's a badass brand photographer. She's a badass brand photographer. She has a business, but she also is still working in corporate as a marketing director and a creative director. So that's her genius. That's her genius. And she and I have been working, thank you. Yes. You know, she and I had been working on stuff to help her stay focused and stay in her lane of genius. And I just love the stuff that we've created together. And I did some researching. You know, God always gives me these downloads, Megan, you know. He always gives me these downloads. And when I was thinking about systems and the systems that I build and I create for my different clients, right? I have life coaching clients. I have done for you clients where I am a business manager inside their business. And so all the different clients that I work with, as non-analytical as I am, hi Linda, as non-analytical as I am, or try not to be, I still, my genius is finding the through line. The through line of when people verbally vomit their ideas, their problems, their situation, I'm very good at picking up and sensing what is the through line? What is the common denominator? Like, how does this relate to this? And I actually see in my brain like a workflow and a strategy, like a flow chart. I see flow charts in my brain. I think it's because I worked in an oil refinery for so many years. What we did there, right? We had blueprints that we would look at, like just a paper blueprint with circles and squares and lines, and I would have to visualize what it looks like out in the field. And so that's a whole story for another day, but that's why I think I see in flow charts these days, because I've been conditioned to see that, you know, over all these years. And what I want you guys to realize is that structures are not straitjackets. They are really a form of self-love and care, right? When you have a structure, when you have a system, when you have a meal plan, right? You can buy those like meal cart or meal plan in a box, right? They just ship you the menu or the recipe, and they ship you all the food in a box, right? All you have to do is open it up and cook it, right? The structure eliminates decision fatigue, right? Say it again. Structure eliminates decision fatigue. When you have a system, when you have repeatable systems that you're using in your life and your business, it just flows. And so Sheila and I were talking earlier today about my brand and about the upcoming challenge that's going to be happening in this group on September 14th. And we came up with the name Find Your Fierce Feminine Flow. So there's a whole story around this. Last week I was on my flow, right? We're all ladies here for the most part, except Neil, but Neil knows. Neil and I were talking about this earlier today, right? We need to, when we are on our flow, I don't know about you, raise your hand if you get affected by that. But knowing what days you're incapacitated, because for me, I get migraines, I get brain fog, I get, I'm just so drained. But I know my body and how it works now, so I try to limit my availability on that week. And it actually affected me. I can say it in here, it's a private group. Yeah. I lost a client this weekend because I felt a lot of pressure. We were just not seeing eye to eye about my deliverables and what she wanted and what her expectations were. And I was okay letting her go, but it was because I was on that week that my brain fog, it was just having me in a funk. And sometimes I'm a little, raise your hand if it gets you moody or angry, or it just like you have these mood swings. And I was on a swing, and I was just like, she's not getting me. I wasn't tapped into my full flow, if you know what I'm saying. And I was like, you know what, it's fine. We're not seeing eye to eye. I'm okay with letting her go. And she was okay letting me go. That's just how it happens. And I honestly wouldn't have been able to tell her that if I was like at 100%. I had the capacity to handle that. Hey, Queena, I'm still alive, girl. I'm still alive. But, you know, I would have had the capacity to be nice, be gentle, be kind, and just respond back to her. And I didn't. I was on a mood swing, and I kind of was like, and we were in a disagreement, but I was able to hold my boundary. If I was not on that week, if I was not having my thing, not in a mood swing, yeah, right, you just want to lay in bed and eat chips. I actually did that. I laid on my couch and I was trying to work from my laptop. on the couch with, I have like a little tray that I use. And I was like, I'm just gonna sit here on my couch and do that. But if I did not have that mood swing happen, I would have tolerated more of her trying to push on my boundaries. And I was like, this is not okay. This is not okay. And I kind of flared up and I was like, we need to go over my roles and responsibilities again, because I don't think we're seeing eye to eye. And she's like, well, and we were only kind of like a week in. I was like, well, she was like, if we're not on the same page now, or just a week in, maybe, like, I'm getting a gut feeling that we're not a great fit. And I'm like, oh good, because I'm getting the gut feeling we're not a great fit either. So it was fine. I let her go, but it caused me to really look at who I was serving, and it gave me a different clarity for what I want this group to be about. And that's why I was like, this is about fierce feminine leadership, ladies. And I've been talking about the fierce feminine, like my Fierce Feminine Fridays, if you've been following on my main page. It's all about stepping into your fierce feminine, not letting people push your boundaries, because that's where you feel the overwhelm. That's where you feel the stress, is when everyone is pulling at you, especially with this homeschooling environment that we're in. Luckily, I mean, my kid is going to do homeschooling, but she's in college and she can drive herself around, and you know, she's self-sustaining at this point, and I don't have to worry about her. But she, you know, there is a pull, right? There is a pull this way. There is a pull with my husband. There's a pull with my clients. There's a pull with all the things that I'm doing. And if we allow people to encroach on our boundaries, right, that's when we start to feel distress. And so when we create structure, not only are we creating a boundary of self-love for ourselves, we are creating like a safety for the other person as well, so that they know how far they can. You know, we just need to know how far we can go sometimes. And I was reading a parenting book when my son was a strong-willed child. So talk about boundaries, right? But in the book, they said you need to have firm boundaries with a strong-willed child, because otherwise they will just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And sometimes, especially if you have clients that are on retainer, or that you might have like life coaching clients that want to impede on your personal time. Like, I haven't had that like much, you know, but except this one client that I've been talking about, like, we just didn't see eye to eye, and expectations and roles and responsibilities and all of that. But when we allow people to push our boundaries, so I haven't had it with clients, paid clients, let's say, but I've had people try to encroach my boundaries when they were not paid, or like even friends who want to, you know, tap your brain. Right? Those are the people that you really need to, I've started to set harder boundaries with, because I don't have the bandwidth anymore. Like, yeah, when I didn't have as many clients and I didn't have as much responsibility, you know, I'm out here trying to make friends, trying to do business all at the same time. I want to connect with people. My extrovert is like, hungry, I want to have friends. But then, you know, when people encroach on my boundaries, I would get resentful. And so that's why I'm telling you, structure is a form of self-love, because when you have that structure in place, you have that boundary in place, you are telling yourself that I love myself enough to make sure that this line is not crossed. And so going back to the parenting analogy, you're telling your child, you cannot cross this boundary. If you cross this boundary, you will get Queen will like this, pa'i. So pa'i in someone means to slap or to hit. And I'm just saying, I noticed around here in California, not a lot of their children when they step over the boundaries. And I'm like, why? Like, it wouldn't even be a thing with my parents. It's like, hey, this is the boundary. You know, maybe it's a different generation. I don't know. But, and I've seen it happen before with other parents and like actually the people who live next door, right? Their kids don't feel loved when the boundary is not enforced, right? It's like, oh, let me just step over the boundary. Oh, love me. Do you love me even if I step over the boundary? And that there's this push pull that happens. But the analogy that they used in Dr. James Dobson's book was when you set firm boundaries, yes, your child is going to hit you. Your child is going to get angry. They're going to resist. They're going to push up against that resistance. But what happens is when you are firm in your boundaries, you are telling your child that you love them. You are telling your child that this is where you can go. Like this, use the fence as an analogy, right? When you have a fence around the playground, the kids feel safe. They actually run to the border of the fence line and they expand to the boundary line. When you take the fence away, they did a study, when you take the fence away, the kids don't feel safe, right? They're playing on a playground and like there might be a street there, but they stay very close to the playground, the jungle gym. They stay very close to there. They don't really expand past that because they feel safe around the structure, but they don't feel safe going out, venturing out, because they don't know how far they can go. Because the farther they get away from the structure, the less safe they feel. So this is why I wanted to bring up this point. Structure and systems is a form of self-love. And especially if you have a team, right? My team pushes back on me a lot when I'm like, hey, I have this fancy new idea. And I'm going to ask you later, but if you want to comment below, what is your Myers-Briggs personality type? Right, I already know Linda's because she commented on my regular wall, and Queena, but I am an ENFP. I am that person that just likes to have fun, be crazy, and fun is the ultimate for me. And why I'm talking about systems and structures in your business is because I know a lot of female CEOs want the freedom. That's why we left corporate, because we didn't like all of that structure. We wanted to do our own business and have our time to ourselves. But there's this period where we leave corporate and then we feel like we're free. Like, yeah, we can do whatever we want. And then the money doesn't come in because we don't have the right systems around us to keep us, right, we're using that playground analogy again. That safety line, that boundary, that structure, you can play inside of the structure. We don't venture out too far because we feel safe around what we used to do. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, she wants everyone to win. I forget what mine is called, like ENFP. Like I know my animal type is a dolphin. I'm a dolphin. Like I'm innovative and creative, and my brain just expands to all the limitless possibilities of where I could go. So that's why I love systems. Oh, ENFJ, nice. So I am an ENFP/J. Oh, 7 wing 8. Okay, cool. I am Enneagram 2 wing 1. Oh yeah, Sheila and Linda are twinning on the personality type. But for those of us who have, like, for you, Megan, right, lots of ideas, lots of ways that we could go with the thing, my ENFP brain will see all the possibilities. And so Neil and Sheila have seen me in our meetings. I'm like, possibilities, and they're like, but wait, how are we going to deploy this, and how are we going to do that? And it's funny. Yes, I am a 2. It's funny, I can see workflow for everyone else except for myself. I don't know about you. Like, I know Megan, you're a brand photographer. It's easy for you to see like how to make another person's brand super sassy. And So someone, I won't say her name, but someone and I were talking, and what she does for other people, if you look at where she's at with that, she's not doing it for herself. And as a coach and consultant, a lot of times, what is that phrase? The cobbler's children have no shoes, right? The cobbler is a shoemaker back in the old ancient days. And it was the same way for my dad. My dad is a house painter. He paints other people's houses for a living. Oh, is that what INFJs need to know the goal before starting the work? See, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm limitless. Oh, like so much possibilities. And then my TJ people reel me in. But the cobblers, so like back to my dad, right? The painter, he got sighted. So our house in Hawaii, or my parents' house, he got cited for having faded paint. He lived in communities, with HOA communities, and right, everybody has to be like, they all have to have these different colors, approved grass, approved everything, right? Everyone has to fit into that, the parameters. And he's painting everyone else's houses because they're, like, oh, my rich enough, can you paint my house? So he's out there painting everybody else's house and not his own. And he knows how to do it for everybody else and create a structure. And like, he follows up with his clients. He's like, oh, it's been a little bit of a while, like maybe 3-5 years. How's your paint on your house? It's time for a touch up. But when it comes to his own house, he just doesn't have the time or the bandwidth to do his own. And he's like, I should get better at doing my own thing. But it's just the thing. I mean, Linda's good. Like, she has great content. She has great content, and she's a content strategist. So she's owning her game. She's fully running her game to the full. But sometimes us ENFP people need a little bit more structure. We need a little bit more structure around reining in our ideas. So that's kind of where this group is headed, is reining in all of your crazy ideas and like putting it out here. Like, I'm so open to like doing live coaching for all of you. Like, if you have a question about a particular system or like, I've done it all. Like, Neil and I were on the phone today, and he's like, you have so many systems. Like, I've bought or tried, I've tried most of the payment processors. I've tried most of like the schedulers. I've tried them all. I've been on the receiving end, or my clients have used them, and I've had to learn how to use them. So that's where my genius comes in, is finding a system that works for you and how you work and how you think and how your brain works. If you don't know, I was majoring in psychology. I didn't finish school. I got hired into corporate at age 20, so I had never finished my college degree. But I was majoring in psychology, and when I was in the Army, I was a mental health specialist. So all of this personality stuff, all of like how people jive, how people groove, and how they live is my jam. And I want to take a blend of your life and your business and make it work together, because we are female, we are feminine. And so going back to the lifeblood analogy, because it's here in my notes and I want to go back to it, right? You are the lifeblood of your business. So just think about that for a second, right? You're a heart-centered entrepreneur. If you have N or F in your MBTI, you are intuitive, you are feeler, you're a heart-centered entrepreneur. As much as like that word is so overplayed and overdone, but when you have this idea, when you had this idea to build a business, it wasn't about making money for you. It was about you serving your community, you serving your clients, you reaching out and helping the people who need your services. Am I right? And because you are the lifeblood of your business and your home and all of that, it all tends to bleed together. So you see where I'm going? But right, they all, your life and your work tend to bleed together. And especially for like someone like Linda, like she has 4 kids and they're all at home right now, and we see her, it's totally fine. Her kids come into her live streams and it's totally okay because she's a mom. I have clients and we have team members who have 2 toddlers, and they come onto our Zoom calls, whatever. Like we have women who are breastfeeding on Zoom. Like we can't, like, you know, it's just neck up or they turn their video off. But it's okay because we've all been there. We've all been mothers. Work and life, you know, they bleed together because we are the lifeblood of both our business and our home. And having a structure, right? If we did not have veins or arteries in our bodies, we did not have a heart to pump the blood, right? When you cut yourself, it just spills everywhere. It's a liquid, it's not contained. It goes wherever it goes once it comes out of its structure. It's the same way with your energy and who you are as a person. It will ooze into every piece of your life. Oh yeah, they are part of your brand. So see, it works. But you've created a brand that you can bring your children into it. You've made it a part of who you are. You've made it a part of your brand. You're not a content strategist by day and mom by night. It's like, no, I am a content strategist who is a mother, and that's who you attract as well. For the most part, is females and who have children and who need content strategies so that they can have their content out there on autoplay while they spend time with their family, because family is part of your brand and that's part of who you are. And that's where I felt in corporate. I was like, okay, this is my work and this is my home. And even though a lot of my, like both of my husband, my current husband worked where I worked, my ex-husband worked where I worked, so, and my ex-in-laws and like so many people I knew like were part of that company, but I still had that life and I had my home life separate. Like I was 2 separate people. It's kind of like schizophrenic, and it tore me apart. Now that I have my own business, my personality can start to show. And as I was talking about brand strategy with my team today, I was like, I never liked pink. It was too feminine for me. But look at the colors of my brand now. I love it. It's not pink, it's fuchsia, but I am, because I've been in such a masculine and patriarchal leadership space, I really want to teach women how to embrace their feminine and be a leader. So many teachers out there teach about patriarchal leadership. And when you are a heart-centered person, having that hard, rough edges, it just makes you want to vomit, right? But so back to structures being about self-love and self-care. Take the meat and spit out the bone. We can take the structures that work and allow it to be like a little safety net for us, and then also hiring people who have the more T and the more J parts of their personality to take care of the technical pieces for us, so that we can flow in our intuitiveness and our feeling. We can just flow in that, and we can be who God created us to be and stop fighting against our nature. When we fight against our nature, it doesn't work out. Like, I even had to change the structure of my Facebook Lives. I had to tell Sheila, like, stop putting times on my... Oh my gosh, this is funny, right? I had to tell her stop putting timestamps on my graphics of when I was gonna go live, because sometimes I didn't feel like going live, and the energy behind these videos would be bleh. And even having a structure, like I have notes just to remind me of the points that I want to talk about. But when I'm in my flow, when I'm in my jam and I'm like just jamming, the energy behind me, actually, they're laughing, but the energy behind my words is so different. It's really so different. And I love that. And I love that I'm embracing that. And I want to give that to you guys as you are running your businesses. You guys are going to be crushing it. You know, you guys are creative entrepreneurs who are going to be owning the business game. And I cannot wait for you guys to get all of this brain stuff out, right? Sheila and you are helping me just pull all of this stuff that's been stuck in my brain for the last 2 years that I've been a coach. I'm putting it out there, and oh my gosh, why am I crying? I don't know, but it's because I'm so passionate about teaching creatives about time management and how to really master your energy, master your workflow, master your day, and not feel crappy when you don't hit your targets, not feel crappy when you see other women crushing it, and you see other people writing these emails and writing content. I mean, you see women out there crushing it, and you feel like you can't do it yourself. That's because you're not being you. You're trying to take a system that's not working for you. You're trying to take a tactic or a strategy that works for them because they built it for themselves. And right, they're selling it like hotcakes because people are buying into it. And you try and take their thing and make it work for you, and you're just like, why is this not working for me? Am I a failure? Why can't I crush it in my business? It's not you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with you trying to fit yourself into someone else's box. You need to create your own fierce feminine workflow. And that is what we're going to be talking about in our challenge coming up on September 14th. And right, I have a team. They're building out the landing pages. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, I do, but I don't. And they're trying to put me into a structure like, Kylie, we need this to go on here. Like, they want to build it for me, but they still need me to operate in my flow and be creative and give them the juice and the flow that they need so that they can do what they're brilliant at. Like, look at my graphics. Sheila's in her flow, and I allow her to stay in her flow. She's like, no, that's not my jam. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just go get someone else to do what is his jam. And he loves it. He loves this automation stuff and system stuff, and he's creating like Zapier. It's Zapier. It's not Zapier. It's not Zapier. That was a mind-blowing moment for me. My brother is in IT. He actually met the founders of Zapier at a convention a couple of years back before they got really big. And he's like, oh, Zapier. And they're like, no, it's Zapier. Because Zapier makes you happier. But happier has 2 P's. Right? Happier has 2 P's. Zapier has 1 P. So it should read like Zapier. Anyway, Neil is a Zapier genius. He's actually getting certified in Zapier. And he's creating all these zaps for me to make my life easier so that I don't have to get into a whole bunch of things like Google Sheets and YouTube. This one, he created a zap today that's zapping this Facebook Live to my YouTube channel. So we'll see if that works. I'm going to check my YouTube channel after this just to make sure it's there. And if it's not there, like, we'll figure out. I don't have to figure it out anymore. I have someone who has a TJ brain, thinker, the judging, right? He can go and analyze all of that and why it's not working. And like, I've done that analytical work for 19 years in the refinery. It was all about troubleshooting and finding out why things aren't working, why this flow is not getting to this space. In the refinery is all about flow, all about that. Making sure everything flowed well, worked well, because it was a 24-hour operation, 24/7. We were never down. Like, the project I was talking about was when the whole refinery was shut down. We had to clean it out, and there was, there's like over 2,000 contractors in the refinery at the time who had leads. They had leads, and all the leads reported to me. They all reported to me. Like, in the hierarchy, I was like the main gatekeeper for all of that. So, Anyway, the fence of the structure protects you from crashing and burning. Without a team, without the systems, without the automation, you will crash and burn. Case in point, I had adrenal burnout because I didn't have the right boundaries and structures in place. I was trying to be 100% at church. I was trying to be 100% at my job. Actually 110% because I was a female. So my 100% was just like 85% to the men. Sorry, not sorry. So I had to be 110% at my job. And then I had to be 100% mom and 100% wife. Raise your hand if you feel like you have to be 100% to all these different groups that you're part of as part of your social life and your work life and your mom life. But when we're not in that, when we're not protecting ourselves from crashing and burning, as a CEO, we need to lead, we need to innovate, and we need to inspire our people. Whether it's your clients, whether it's just your team in general, when we are not leading, we're not stepping in and owning it, like that's when stuff starts to fall apart. And right, going back to the corporate analogy, you're CEO of your company. I know my CEO, our company was huge. It was global, like a bajillion people worldwide. Literally worldwide, right? He would not create anything. He would lead, he would delegate, and everybody else would execute, right? He didn't implement anything. Well, he did check on us. He would just read reports and everything, but the reports were generated by someone else. He would just oversee and review. And that's where I want you guys to really get in your business. As a CEO, as the visionary of your business and your brand, you need to really step into that leadership role. Lead, inspire, and be innovative so that your team can then execute on your behalf. And if you're not in the space where you have a team to execute, use the power of technology and apps to execute on your behalf, right? Social media content, right? You two ladies who are left on here, social media content. There's apps for that. There are apps that will schedule stuff on your behalf. And that's why Linda teaches to create your 90 days of content and have it rinse and repeat. Right, because that's a system, that's a structure that allows her clients to be free and step into their freedom and be the CEOs of their business. Because without a repeatable system and a process, you're just going to be stepping into decision fatigue every single day. And when you're under decision fatigue and you have that brain fog, you cannot be innovative. I'm sorry, you just cannot innovate. And your team and your clients even need you to have that innovation and have that inspiration in order to lead them to where they need to be. Okay, so I've hit all the points on my talk today, and just want to say thank you guys for being here in this group. And I'm going with my Fierce Feminine Flow, and I'm updating the group title and description. And if you know anyone out there, any other Fierce Feminine CEOs who are creative, they don't have to be ENFP like me. They can be INFJ like you guys. But like people who want to stay in their intuitive, in their feeler, but they're not crushing it right now. Have them come in here. We're going to be doing the challenge in about 2 weeks from now, and I really want to get this system into more hands, because I see so many females out there who are not stepping into their fierceness, who are not stepping and owning their badassery because they feel disqualified to be a business owner, because they feel so disorganized. They feel so overwhelmed, and they don't know how to really press through and press forward. And if you've known me for a number of times, you've seen I haven't done that. And it's only after I hired a team and got some systems in place that it freed up my brain to expand my creativity and allowed me to come out of this shell that I was in, and like defeat this imposter syndrome that I was under, because I wasn't allowed to express myself fully and not be in my creative space because I was so bogged down by tech and systems. Although tech and systems are my jam, but I was hiding behind that, you know? So do me a favor, invite, or even just send a link in a DM to someone who you think would be interested in joining this group, or if you have a group that you know, that you own, you know, invite your ladies over here if they need help with systems and processes and getting stuff off of their plate and just off of their brain so that their brain can be free to create. Yeah, just I would love for you to share this with someone who you know needs this information. So thank you again. Thank you guys for being here. Just love you, and thank you for your support, and I will see you again next week. Okay, bye.